Hello, and welcome to VTSP Foundations 2017. My name is Kevin Grote, Staff Systems Engineer here at Vmware. I am so excited to be here with you and to be introducing VTSP. I have to tell you, the first time I took a VTSP years ago, I could never have imagined that I would be here talking to you. VTSP has a very special place in my heart. I remember getting my VSP and then my VTSP and really trying to comprehend all of the technology that was being thrown at me. VTSP has changed so many times over the years. Different technical depths, different types of portfolio focus, all sorts of different things. And this one is no different. In fact, in this version of the VTSP, we're going to be doing something new, and I think it's pretty cool. We're going to be centering around our portfolio as a whole, and we're going to be introducing you to a brand new whiteboard. And this hasn't been seen anywhere inside of any of the accreditations, and I was really excited to have a hand at collaborating with the team in building it. Now, what makes this whiteboard different than others? Well, what makes it so special is the fact that you're going to be able to use it not only to understand VMware technologies, but also where they fit and where do some of these ideas work, whether it's on-premise, data center-centric technologies, or data center-centric cloud technologies, or user-centric on-premise or off-premise technologies. And you're also going to be learning how to take these portfolios, these platform ideas, and to layer them on top of what's going on inside of your own data center, or perhaps even conversations with the customer. In fact, we've got a really cool piece where we're going to be looking at that specifically and how to layer customer-centric technologies inside of this space. VTSP marks the beginning of a journey, learning and incorporating all new sorts of ideas, being able to shift conversational paradigms around, and your ability to layer technologies one on top of the other. Being able to talk about storage, network, security, automations, operations, even cloud, and to be able to snap all of these ideas together in comprehensive, scalable ways that move conversations into whole new realms so that you can talk about and design new things all the time. Our hope through this VTSP is to give you a sense of confidence that you can go out there and try, use your own enthusiasm, your own creativity, to modify and change what we're giving you in new and exciting ways, and to be able to communicate these ideas, not just VMware's vision of the world, but
here are the tasks you should be able to accomplish when you complete this course. In the next module, we will be reviewing the entire VMware portfolio, examining the features and use cases for VMware solutions. Here are the objectives for this module. Extensive studies indicate that this year, customers will focus on a core set of business outcomes. They want to accelerate business agility and innovation. They want to deliver exceptional mobile experiences. And they want to protect their brand and customer trust. VMware is helping customers achieve these business outcomes by focusing on these 4 core strategic priorities. Select each one to see how you can help the customer address each of these priorities with VMware solutions. Now that you understand the customer's strategic priorities, we will now explore the VMware solutions that help customers meet those priorities. VMware solutions can be organized into 6 different categories consisting of 4 quadrants and 2 categories in the middle. The 4 quadrants are on-premises data center, off-premises data center, on-premises user, and off-premises user. The category in the middle is called cross-cloud because it impacts both on-premises and off-premises data centers. And the final category is the digital workspace, which occupies the center area in the user space because it includes technologies that are both on and off premises. These are the VMware solutions as organized within the quadrants. The items in purple are bundles or platforms that include multiple VMware products. We'll now begin to look at the compute and storage solutions for the on-premises data center, beginning with vSphere and vSphere with Operations Management. vSphere is the industry-leading virtualization platform. It provides a powerful foundation that accelerates the digital transformation to cloud computing. vSphere with Operations Management adds unified and easy-to-use operations management from apps to storage. This is a quick overview of the main functions and benefits of vSphere. Here is an illustration of the customer's journey to the software-defined data center with vSphere. vSphere powers digital transformation. vSphere is a universal app platform that supports both traditional and next-generation apps. These are the use cases for vSphere and vSphere with Operations Management. The latest new features in vSphere include vCenter Server Appliance, vSphere Integrated Containers, and more security features. These are some important resources for vSphere and vSphere with Operations Management. Now that we've looked at vSphere, the industry's most recognized platform for server virtualization, we'll move on to the VMware product that helps customers get the most out of vSphere, and that is vCenter Server. vCenter Server manages VMware vSphere environments, giving IT administrators simple and automated control over the virtual environment. vCenter Server Overview. We'll now move from compute virtualization to storage virtualization, which is provided by vSAN. vSAN is VMware's hyper-converged solution, built from the ground up for vSphere virtual machines. It abstracts and aggregates locally attached disks in a vSphere cluster to create a storage solution that can be provisioned and managed from vCenter and vSphere Web Client. Note that vSAN plus vSphere plus vCenter Server together are the fundamental elements to a VMware-powered hyper-converged infrastructure, or HCI. The customer must have vSphere in order to install vSAN. The solution can be further extended with solutions like NSX to add complete network virtualization. vSAN Overview. These are the most common use cases for vSAN. There are two HCI deployment options: turnkey appliances and certified platforms. These are some important resources for vSAN. From vSphere and vSAN, we move on to VMware solutions that enhance the major products that we've already mentioned. One of them is Site Recovery Manager. Site Recovery Manager provides the simple and reliable recovery of virtual machines with little to no downtime. It does this by automating the failover and migration of virtual machines to a secondary site. Site Recovery Manager relies on either vSphere replication or a third-party replication product to replicate the virtual machines. vSphere replication is a feature of vSphere. vSphere replication does offer disaster recovery capabilities, but Site Recovery Manager is more robust and provides policy-based management, non-disruptive testing, and automated orchestration of recovery plans. Note that Site Recovery Manager integrates tightly with VMware network virtualization solutions for seamless failover and disaster recovery. These are the use cases for Site Recovery Manager. We now move from the compute and storage part of the on-premises data center to the networking area. In this category, we have NSX, which is the virtualization platform for the software-defined data center. NSX abstracts all network functions and runs them in software, creating a network hypervisor that acts as a platform for virtual networks and services. This means that network topologies can be created and provisioned within seconds. NSX Overview. NSX is the next generation networking model. One of the major use cases for NSX is security. Another major NSX use case is networking automation. The third major use case for NSX is application continuity. Here are some important resources for NSX. From networking, we move to the operational aspect of the on-premises data center. vRealize Operations delivers intelligent operations management across physical, virtual, and cloud infrastructure, from VMware vSphere and Hyper-V to Amazon Web Services. vRealize Operations is one of the key components of the vRealize suite, which provides a complete operations and automation solution for the software-defined data center. vRealize Operations Overview. These are the three main benefits for vRealize Operations. Here are some useful resources for vRealize Operations. We've seen all the solutions within the space of the on-premises data center. Many of these solutions are bundled together in suites, providing bigger sales opportunities and more capabilities. These suites are the vRealize Suite and the vCloud Suite. We will also present Cloud Foundation, even though it is a platform and not a suite. vRealize Suite is an enterprise-ready cloud management platform that delivers the industry's most complete solution for managing a heterogeneous hybrid cloud. vCloud Suite is an integrated offering that brings together VMware's industry-leading vSphere hypervisor and vRealize Suite, the multi-vendor cloud management control plane for the software-defined data center. Until now, we've looked at all the aspects of the on-premise data center: compute and storage, networking, and operations. We'll now go to a solution that brings many of those components together: Cloud Foundation. Cloud Foundation is a unified software-defined data center platform for the private and public clouds. It brings together vSphere, vSAN, and NSX into a natively integrated stack, unified by a new product called the SDDC Manager. Cloud Foundation is not just a software bundle, it is a truly integrated platform, built to ensure the complete interoperability of the entire stack. VMware Cloud Foundation Overview. As an essential component of VMware Cloud Foundation, SDDC Manager automates the lifecycle management and operations of the entire SDDC stack. Cloud Foundation delivers the next-generation HCI architecture. These are some important resources for Cloud Foundations. Now that we've looked at all the VMware solutions in the on-premises data center space, we'll now look at off-premises data centers, otherwise known as public cloud. VMware has a number of public cloud solutions, each targeted towards specific use cases. vCloud Air, known as the ready-to-run public cloud, is designed specifically for the vSphere environment. This is where vCloud Air fits in the world of public cloud. vCloud Air is available in 3 major offerings that can be deployed individually or combined with one another. For more information on vCloud Air, see these important resources. Now that we've looked both at the VMware solutions in both the on-premise and off-premise data centers, we'll look at solutions that impact both on and off-premise. We'll call these cross-cloud solutions. Although many VMware solutions have functionality that crosses from on to off-premises and vice versa, these cross-cloud solutions lie more in the middle and impact both on and off-premises more than the others we've mentioned previously. We'll now look at these three solutions. This is an overview of vRealize Automation, the first VMware solution that we will look at in the cross-cloud space. One major use case for vRealize Automation is IT automating IT. Another major use case for vRealize Automation is DevOps-ready IT. This is an overview of vRealize Business for Cloud, the second VMware solution in the cross-cloud space. Here are the key benefits for vRealize Business for Cloud. These are a few important resources for vRealize Automation and vRealize Business for Cloud. This is an overview of vCloud Air Hybrid Cloud Manager, the third solution in the cross-cloud space. Here are some resources for vCloud Air Hybrid Cloud Manager. These are some additional cloud management products offered by VMware. Now that we've seen all the solutions that deliver the on-premises and off-premises data centers, as well as the cross-cloud solutions that touch both, we're going to look at the solutions that touch end users directly. We're going to begin with an end user technology that impacts both on-premises and off-premises users, and that is the digital workspace. The digital workspace presents a total market opportunity of $11 billion, and this opportunity is still growing. VMware empowers the digital workspace with Workspace ONE, a platform that delivers a great user experience without compromising enterprise security. Workspace ONE Overview. This illustration shows some of the power and capabilities of Workspace ONE. Here are the customer entry points for the VMware Digital Workspace. These are some resources for Workspace ONE. AirWatch Overview. For more information on AirWatch, you can see these resources. From the digital workspace, we now move to the technologies that specifically address the on-premises user space. Horizon 7 Overview. These are some resources on Horizon 7. Here are more on-premises end-user products offered by VMware. We'll now look at the off-premise users. These are the users whose desktops and applications are being delivered through public cloud. This is an overview of the two solutions that VMware offers for the off-premises user space: Horizon Cloud with hosted infrastructure and Horizon Cloud with on-premises infrastructure. For more information on Horizon Cloud, check out these references. We will now move on to the VMware Whiteboard, which uses these same 4 quadrants. Now that you're familiar with VMware solutions, our next modules will help you frame them to a customer clearly and effectively on a whiteboard. Here are the objectives for this module. You may ask, why the VMware Whiteboard? What makes this whiteboard special? Most whiteboards are complicated. They're hard to draw, hard to explain, and hard to remember. That complexity takes away from the biggest value that a whiteboard should have, which is simplicity. For many whiteboards, you need to have a lot of drawing ability, high verbal skills, and a great memory to be able to give a successful presentation. The VMware Whiteboard is different. It's different because it's simple. After taking this module, you will probably be able to present most of the whiteboard with little effort. You won't need hours to memorize the details. But its simplicity doesn't take away from its depth. The VMware Whiteboard is highly flexible. If all you want to do is present a very high-level view of a solution, you can do that. But if you want to get deep into technical detail and build more layers of complexity on your own, you can do that too. You can go as deep as you want and as broad as you want. Simple, flexible, and powerful. That's what you want from a good whiteboard. And that's exactly what the VMware Whiteboard provides. The VMware Whiteboard is made up of quadrants. So the first thing you do is to simply draw 2 lines like this. Your whiteboard is now divided up into 4 areas. These 4 areas make up the framework of the VMware Whiteboard. In the bottom left, we have our data center space, or our on-premises space. In your bottom right, we have our public cloud, or off-premises space. Then on the top, we have the area of user influence, or the end-user space. We use this simple framework to illustrate the customer's environment on the whiteboard. By diagramming the customer's environment, we are putting the complete focus of the conversation on the customer and their needs. Then, as you discuss different solutions with the customers, you can hit all 3 aspects of the customer's topology and look at the types of products that will fit within that topology at any given time. This framework is completely adaptable to all the different kinds of environments a customer can have. You can use this framework whether the customer has an infrastructure that is all on premises, or an infrastructure that spans on and off premises, or an infrastructure that is on premises and heavily user focused, or an infrastructure that is on premises and off premises and maintains user accessibility to both. You can easily customize this framework so that it accurately illustrates your customer's infrastructure. For example, maybe the customer has a secondary data center that they use for backup, or maybe they have a tertiary data center. It could be they have an additional set of cloud offerings, or maybe they have file management, or perhaps they need to impose security in the end user space. You can use the whiteboard to not only show what the customer has, but also to show how data flows through their environment. For example, you can show how all the data centers are connected between multiple points to get a better understanding of how communication is flowing. You can show how users get access in and out of the firewall, how information is coming in and flowing out, and how information is traversing between the east and west of a group of data centers. As you can see from what we've demonstrated, the whiteboard is extremely flexible and can be used for many different conversations. Once you've made your two cross lines, you draw your data center and begin your whiteboard in the on-premises quadrant. Everything that lives on the left side will be on-premises technology, and everything to the right side will be off-premises technology. Now let's look at the top and the bottom. The bottom two quadrants are clearly very data center focused. Things like storage technologies, networking technologies, all of these are very data center centric. By that, we mean that the end user is not going to be interacting with these technologies, and changes in these technologies really aren't going to be influencing the user's daily life. However, these technologies might make things more secure, more powerful, and scalable for the users. But the idea isn't to change what users do every day, it is to improve their systems and provide their resources to them. Then we come up here to the user-centric space. Technologies that live up in this part of the whiteboard are going to impact the user. These are things where the user might actually see some change. It's important to identify the use cases of your customer because the success of the technology depends on the success or satisfaction of its users. User-centric technologies include things like virtual desktop, application delivery, and device management. The user may get more flexibility. For example, they may now be able to bring their own device, to leverage new tools, to use a Windows application on an iPad, or access a desktop from their mobile phone. To summarize, we've seen how the whiteboard is divided up into the top and bottom halves, data center centric and user centric, as well as the left and right halves, on-premises and off-premises. If we have a technology that lives down here, it would be very much on-premises, data center centric. However, a technology that lives up here would be off-premises and user centric. Technologies that live inside of this space would be on-premises and user centric. And technologies that live in this space would be off-premises and data center centric. Now, there are varying degrees as we look at this vertical plane and a myriad of halfway points within that plane. For example, you can have a technology that lives just inside of this space that is very much just data center centric, like networking or storage. However, as that moves up the stack, it could be a technology that grows in its user influence. Or perhaps it's a technology that as it grows up, it's able to start interacting to the point where the user might actually be able to interact with it, but they're interacting with a data center type of technology. For example, something like automation, where the user is able to request infrastructure resources inside of that space. It's still inherently a data center technology, but the user is able to interact with it. The same is true for technologies that move left and right inside this plane. A technology that is far on this left side is going to be very much on premises. As a technology moves closer to the center line, it has more off-premises characteristics. Maybe it has the ability to integrate with something off-premises. Or if a technology actually lives in the middle line, it has the ability to integrate with technologies that are both on and off premises. Of course, the higher it goes, the more user impact it has. Now we're going to talk about the customer roles and where they map to on this whiteboard. We'll be doing this by making two columns for the different roles that you may be speaking to during the sales cycle. Displaying the customer roles and concerns is something that you won't be doing in your whiteboard with customers. We're presenting this information only for your reference so that you understand how different pieces of the whiteboard match to the different customer roles. The first column is called Role, and the second column is called Concern. We use the word concern in a literal sense. It's nothing that they're worried about, but it is something that they care about. As we discuss the customer roles, we'll move from the top of the stack down to the bottom. Let's talk about the types of roles that are involved inside a traditional enterprise. We have CEOs, CFOs, CIOs. You have CTOs and IT directors. Then you have data center administrators, people who are responsible for entire data centers. And then perhaps you have silo administrators. By silo administrators, we mean people who are in charge of storage or networking, things like that. And then deeper in the stack, maybe you have database analysts or informational analysts. And there may be people like network security analysts as well. This isn't a chain of report, except for the fact that the CEO is above everyone. This simply says that the types of things that these roles are concerned about are going to vary with each role. For example, a CEO is probably not going to have a lot to do with the deep data center ins and outs. However, a CEO would be very interested to know what is impacting users. In fact, the CEO might also be a user. Now let's take a look at the concerns that align with each role. For the concerns, we're going to move from the bottom back up to the top. So down here in network security, people might be interested or have concerns in security and predictability. These might be thoughts that are crossing their minds. Information analysts might be concerned about ease and scarcity. Is information secure? Is it going to be easy to scale? Is information going to be easy to integrate into the things that they are already doing? They're concerned about these things because there's not a lot of time to deal with configuration and troubleshooting. When we get into data center administration, we start having concerns like scale and elasticity. Can resources be grown? Can they be shrunk? And are those resources going to have the stability that they need to be able to grow and shrink as necessary? Once we have those resources, when we've proven that they scale and that they're elastic and they're easy to implement and they're highly predictable, we start looking at how much is this going to cost us, both in our ownership and our initial acquisition of these resources. It's a different type of conversation. Once we've acquired the technology, how flexible is it? VMware isn't the only thing that people invest in. And is this technology extensible? Is it something that we can easily integrate into the rest of our investments? Can we leverage it holistically? And once we've attached the new resources, we ensure that we have all of the security, extensibility, and flexibility that we need, and that we're retaining compliance and assurance. How are we making sure that we're scalable moving forward? Then at the top of the stack, are we looking at our return on investment? Are we investing in things that are giving us a return and providing benefits? And are we addressing the potential opportunity costs associated with implementing or not implementing a specific technology? So you see that this very simple whiteboard gives us a lot of space to communicate. We're looking at roles, we're looking at concerns, we're looking at how the technologies are laid out and who might be impacted by them. Let's take a look at an impact scenario now. If you're talking to a data center administrator, data center administrators are probably going to be concerned with technologies that fall inside of this space. This is going to be the area of impact. But they're also going to have areas of influence, and these are a little broader than the area of impact. So, even though data center administrators might be very concerned with things such as scale, elasticity, and stability, they're going to be influencers over things like total cost of acquisition, ease, and scarcity. and they're going to have influence up and down their stack. The same would be true for a CIO. CIOs are going to be interested in technologies that sit inside this space. While they have initial concerns over flexibility and extensibility, they're also going to influence conversations around compliance and assurance, as well as total cost of ownership and acquisition. That means that the technologies that live in this space and in this space are also just as relevant from an influence perspective as those that live inside this space as they impact this particular role. Let's also take a look at the types of conversation points that might arise when you are looking at these different objects inside of the data center. What are the conversations that might be happening already, or things to listen for that are going to tell you where you are inside the topology? If you're hearing conversations around storage and compute, clearly we know that we're inside the data center. Keep in mind, however, that we should also bring up cloud-based infrastructure as a means to resolve storage and compute concerns. If there's a conversation around security, however, we can be a little higher up the stack and we can be approaching on-premises and off. If we're having questions around compliance, it could be inside the data center. It could also be influencing some of the off-premises things as well. So both of these could be touching all of this space. We could also hear conversations about scale. Scale conversations typically involve user interaction because you're looking at the way people consume technologies. The consumption might not be through VDI, it might not be through application deployment, but it could simply be through their usage of infrastructure technologies. Again, it could be a user outside the infrastructure. It could be someone who works for a different department, or someone who is consuming technologies inside this space. As we look off premises, we might be hearing conversations around bursting or conversations around tenancy or resources. We could also be hearing conversations about recovery point and recovery time objectives. And that also means that we can be talking about disaster recovery or disaster avoidance. And some of those conversations are going to be happening inside the on-premises space as well. As we look into the user space, we could be hearing conversations about bring your own device, or mobile device management, or mobile application management, or mobile email management. We could be hearing conversations about offline utilization, people needing to use laptops offline. You could be hearing about PC refresh inside this space as well. You could be hearing conversations around geographic disparity of departments or around data security. There are many more concerns that can be included here and more that will become obvious to you as you start to use this whiteboard and lay conversations onto this topology. Now let's take a look at some VMware technologies that you can overlay onto this whiteboard. When you're talking with a customer, you would not necessarily overlay everything that we're going to show you. Use this information as a reference to understand where the technologies fit. Then as you participate in a customer conversation, you're going to understand which technologies might address the customer's concerns and how to fit those products into the whiteboard. VMware technologies like Site Recovery Manager, vSphere, and vSAN live inside these lower data center spaces. We have NSX towards the middle because although it is used primarily for applications on premises, it also has an impact off premises as well. In the middle, we have Hybrid Cloud Manager, vRealize Business for Cloud, and vRealize Automation. These technologies reside on the center spine because they impact both on-premises and off-premises technologies. In the on-premises user space, we have with things like Horizon and User Environment Manager. In the off-premises user space, we have Horizon Cloud. In the hybrid space, we see AirWatch as it traditionally spans on and off-premises applications. And in the off-premises data center space, we have technologies like Desktop Disaster Recovery as a Service, vCloud Air Private Cloud, or Dedicated Cloud, and more. This isn't a comprehensive list of all the VMware technologies, but it gives you a good idea of where some of the products sit and how to place a product within the framework. This concludes our overview of the VMware whiteboard. Our next module will present an example of using the whiteboard with a fictional customer. But before you go on to the next lesson, take some time to practice this whiteboard. Without looking at the slides, grab a paper, draw the cross lines, and just fill up the whiteboard with as many technologies and solutions that you can remember. Practice it with your family, friends, or coworkers for just a couple of minutes at least. You'll be amazed by how well you'll be able to deliver this whiteboard just with what you know right now. And then once you've done some practice, proceed to the next module.